Season 37, war number 3, and we're up against the Matrix. Today my team will be Pryde, Omega Sentinel and Tigra. This is a very busy war for me, and I'm taking path 7 in section 1, path 5 in section 2, all the shared fights along the way, all the right side mini-bosses, as well as the thing boss. So I'm taking the max of 13 fights. I'm a bit behind on war video uploads again, so I'm recording this one along with a couple others, so when you see this go live you can expect the next one soon. Up first we have a Longshot on the Conflictor and Power Efficiency node, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. I had a teammate place a White Magneto pre-fight here for me to make this fight a lot easier. I have the half recoils on here, only with the poison debuff, so I get more damage and constant healing on my Pryde fights. The plan here is to just avoid dexing as much as possible, so that Mystic Dispersion doesn't really come into play. I use those passive stuns to build up my prowess, and then all I need to do is just make sure that Longshot can't get to his special 3. I try to bet his special 2 instead of the special 1, because the special 2 I can either dex or phase it just fine. If he uses his special 1, I usually just go and block it. By blocking it, I won't trigger Mystic Dispersion with my dexterity, and I have no risk of eating it straight up. Because if you eat Longshot's special 1 while the Pure of Heart is active, you're not gonna survive it. Not with Kitty at least. Longshot went down without any issues, and I'm just waiting for a teammate to go and place the White Magneto pre-fight here on Kingpin. You don't really need it, but it does make the fight a lot safer. Because Kingpin can shrug debuffs, the passive stun allows you to always take it when you need to, and the extra prowess gain is also very helpful. So the nodes here are Vivified, which is the biggest issue, as well as Brute Force, which Kitty ignores for the most part. So the plan here is to just build up my prowess with the passive stuns and bait Kingpin's special 1 whenever he has it. I'm trying to get to my special 2 with all 20 prowess active, and then my plan is to go and push Kingpin to his special 2, bait it, phase the beam to get extra prowess, and then throw my special 2 to nuke him down. I was getting pretty worried here that I would get pushed into my corner, which would prevent me from phasing. Luckily he did throw his special here, and I have just about enough power to get to my special 2 to finish the job. Kingpin went down pretty fast, but yeah, that is, or can be, a very sketchy fight. I probably wouldn't take it without the White Magneto pre-fight, to be honest. So I'm just waiting for a teammate to give me some energy here. I'm saving my own because I still have a lot of fights to clear, and I wanna get them done with the same set of boosts. So next up we have a Nick Fury on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Poison with the Power Efficiency, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. The plan here is to play it slow and only hit him during the Incinerate phase. Kitty being Incinerate immune, there is no risk of getting any debuffs on you, and him trying to trigger Incinerate on you only ramps up your prowess potency, which just helps you in the long run. You don't want to hit him during the poison phase, even though you can phase the poison damage, because he does still get that big fury buff whenever you get a debuff. Now, even if you do get a poison every once in a while, it's not gonna be a big issue unless you're getting hit. But the problem arises when you get multiple stacks of poisons. The first poison you trigger gives him the fury buff, and any poison you trigger after that with the fury buff still up gains that attack increase from the Fury. And those poisons, they hurt a lot. Something that I do wanna talk about here is what I'm doing during the poison phase to play time. Whenever Nick Fury dashes back, I throw a light attack in the air to make the AI just walk up to me and do nothing. That's a very easy and safe way to play time whenever you have to, and with some practice you can use it to control what the AI does. By using those light attacks whenever the opponent dashes back, depending on when you throw that light attack, you can control if they stand still at the other side of the screen, or if they just slowly walk up to you and do nothing. You can also take it a step further and force the AI to parry you, which is useful in some situations with champions like Jabari Panther, Mr. Negative, Mordo, and so on. But more on that if I ever have fights with them. Now for a very interesting fight. Dr. Doom on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Shock. I'm taking this fight with Pryde, and I do have the White Magneto pre-fight active. And this fight doesn't really go exactly as I planned. Now the idea here was that I would be playing this fight slow, just like the Nick Fury beforehand, and yeah, that was the plan, but I didn't exactly account for the insult to injury node here, lowering my defensive ability accuracy by 30% permanently due to the poison debuff on me. Now going in, I did realize that my parries wouldn't stick sometimes due to the node, but what I didn't realize was that the 30% reduction to my defensive ability accuracy would interact with every prowess trigger on those successful passive stuns individually, meaning that when I land a passive stun on my parry, I don't always gain the 3 prowess that you're supposed to. Sometimes I gain 3, sometimes I gain 2, and so on. So the reduction is applied to every single prowess trigger individually, and that really messed me up here. And now with multiple failed parries in a row, I got cornered, and it's not looking great. The Nullify is also messing me up, shocking me and allowing Doom to just passively stun me with his heavy slap, and I needed to get out of that corner as soon as possible. I threw my special 3 without even phasing at first, which did push Doom to his special 3. Now I had already burned through my invulnerability boost charges here, so it was all or nothing at that point. If Doom hadn't thrown his special 3 right then and there, I would have been dead. I'm still failing to gain prowess on my parries, and I'm slowly dying due to the poison debuff. I really need to get out of this fight as soon as I can. But now that I used my special 3, Doom has that Incinerate debuff up, which is constantly giving him the conduit regen. I'm not doing any damage here. Doom throws his special 2, I face the last 3 hits and go for my special 3. With the max prowess potency, I'm really hoping this would finish the fight. But Doom is left at 4%, and due to conduit, he regens back up to 30. After my special 3, I let Doom hit into my face to give me prowess, and I throw my special. I was just short of my special 2 there, so instead I ended up throwing a special 1, which inflicts even more incinerates. However, at this point the conduit regen isn't actually working anymore. Not exactly sure why, but I'm really not complaining. I want out of this fight. A couple more hits and Doom goes down. That was scary. I should have been dead so many times in that fight, but I just managed to get myself out of there. Barely. And even then, it was somewhat because of the conduit bug there at the end. But hey, I'll take it. Next up we have a Korg on the Scared Stiff, Bubble Shield and Power Focus 2 node. I'm taking this fight with Pryde, and once again I have the White Magneto pre-fight here. And the game plan here is to get a couple parries at the start to build up my prowess, and then just play this like any other Korg. I'm not taking any damage from the rocket horns because of Kitty's phasing, and the unblockable just gets me free openings, so all I really need to do is just hit him until he dies. I am keeping a close eye on the Scared Stiff node, the timer there below my health bar, because getting rooted with Kitty is something that you don't really want to deal with. While you're rooted, you can't trigger your phasing because you're not moving forward. When fighting Korg and baiting his special one, I like to dash at him and face the last bullet to deal some extra damage and just to get in there and start my combo as soon as I can. You do lose a few prowess for doing so, but you can get it back very easily by going for an interceptor or two, or just going for the parries with the passive stun. Here he didn't wanna throw his special one, which ended up causing me to get rooted just as I went in to punish it. But to get out of that, I just threw my special 3, which wasn't wide enough to finish him, but he's so low that all I need to do is just let him hit into my face and he drops. Up next is an Ebony on the Power Snack node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the tracking debuff. I use it because it allows me to bypass miss, meaning that the falter debuff that Ebony inflicts doesn't really do anything here. That combined with Omega Sentinel's immunity to nullify basically means that Ebony can't really do anything. The only thing I have to worry about here is Mystic Dispersion, since those fury buffs he inflicts on me will trigger MD when they expire. Oh, and of course I do need to keep an eye on my tracking debuffs, so that I don't accidentally let them fall off and then hit into his falter. That would mess me up pretty bad. I waited out the power stings and went for my special 2 to speed up the fight. All I really need at this point is one last combo and Ebony goes down. Omega Sentinel just might be the perfect counter for that node. Then we have a Pryde on the Ebb and Flow Intercept node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting in her default mode for the Cowardice debuff. As you probably already know by now, the Cowardice debuff, or rather any Cowardice effect, completely shuts Kitty down. While inflicted with Cowardice, Pryde loses all of her personal prowess, and she can't gain any new ones either. So without prowess, Pryde can't phase, can't become unblockable, and yeah, she basically doesn't do anything. Your only concern is that you don't just start eating hits. And even then, Omega Sentinel has her auto block as a safety net. You basically can't mess this up. Next up we have an Omega Sentinel on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and My Charge node. I'm taking this fight with Tigra. And this fight can be a little bit scary on this node, Since it has mighty charge, whenever Omega Sentinel dashes at me, she removes all of the rupture debuffs on her. So that basically means that I'm doing a lot less damage than I would normally do. On top of that, I decided to be stupid and tried to catch her standing up after knocking her down with my heavy attack, and for that I got comboed as a punishment, which will cost me a couple potions later. Because of the bad start and Omega Sentinel being a little bit passive here, I had to go for my special once to reset my senses before they dropped off. I was a little bit too far to punish this special one with my heavy attack, so I go in for normal combos instead. The plan at this point is to just get a few ruptures up and drop my special 2, and hopefully that is enough to finish the fight. I try to bait a heavy attack here to get a couple ruptures up before throwing my special 2, but she just didn't wanna go for it. And without any ruptures to begin with, that special 2 didn't do that much damage at all. And yeah, this fight is really dragging on a lot longer than it should have. I punish her special 1 with my heavy and chain in my special 2, but of course I get very unlucky with the rupture triggers and it doesn't finish. However, it did get me enough power to drop a special 1 straight after, and finally I got her down. Not the prettiest fight, but hey, a solo is a solo. Next up we have a Nova on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge, the shared fight, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. I have the White Magneto pre-fight on here for some little extra damage, but other than that it doesn't do much. The plan here is to just play this like any other Nova. I'm baiting his heavy attacks and special 1 and punishing them with my heavy attack. Even with the Ebb and Flow protection up, Tigra special 2s still do a lot of damage. To safely punish Nova's special 1 with your heavy attack, you first have to dex the beam, and then you have to dash back a little bit early on that dash at the end. If you dex it like you would normally, you're not gonna have enough time to get your heavy in afterwards. And of course, if you dex it too early, you're gonna get smacked by it. It takes a little bit of practice, but it is pretty simple to do, and I highly suggest learning it. Next up we have a Man-Thing on the Safeguard mini-boss node, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. Since Neutralize can now stop the pustule buffs on Man-Thing's specials, as well as on his Nullify, you have no risk of getting poisoned in this fight, as long as you play it well. As for why Neutralize stops the buffs that trigger on you, I'm pretty sure it's because the opponent triggers it, and Neutralize lowers the opponent's buff ability accuracy. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the buff has to trigger on the opponent, but by the opponent. But I honestly couldn't tell you for sure, I don't know. But it is how Neutralize has always worked, so don't fix it. Next up we have a Terrax on the Stunning Reflection and Polka Dot Power node, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. Now Terrax is probably the easiest opponent you can face with Kitty. All you need to do is just medium light combos for the whole fight, and that's it. You take no damage from the rock field, you heal a little bit from willpower, not a lot because despair is a thing. But yeah, that's basically all there is to this. when the rock field falls off, all you need to do is just bait another special and then you can switch back to medium light combos. It's not the fastest or the most exciting fight, but it is basically the most safe fight you can have. So yeah, I'd say Kitty Pryde is the best option for Terrax on basically any node. Just to note, if you are ever taking a Terrax with Kitty Pryde, in war or otherwise, I highly suggest that you put on your recoil masteries to speed it up. So yeah, not the most exciting fight, but that Doom fight was exciting enough. A break is very well appreciated at this point. Next up we have a Scorpion on the Brute Force mini-boss node, and I'm taking this fight with Kitty Pryde, and I had a teammate place the White Magneto pre-fight here as well. The plan here is to get to 10 prowess so I can get my openings with the unblockable, and then just bait Scorpion special 2 as much as I can. The special 2 is much easier to deal with than the special 1. As for Scorpion's evade, if you are phasing when he evades, the counter hit doesn't hit you and he won't be able to combo you straight after. Although there, when I dashed back, Scorpion caught me on my dash back and hit me once. He could have comboed me there, but luckily he didn't. If Scorpion does throw his special 1, I usually just block it instead of trying to dex it. The sting debuffs that trigger through the block don't do that much damage, but the biggest issue with them is the healing reduction, since they are poison debuffs. I did lose some HP here because I messed up a little bit, but luckily this is my last kitty fight, so it won't cost a potion. Last but not least is another thing boss that I'm taking with Tigra. Now I'm just gonna quickly go over the most important parts about taking this fight, and then I'm gonna speed up the rest, because chances are you've already seen me take this fight multiple times before. So whenever you take a thing with Tigra, you do still need to keep an eye on the rock stacks. You never want to leave thing at 15 rock stacks at the end of your combo, heavy or a special attack. So it's very important to know that how many hits your each attack has. If you leave thing at 15 stacks and neutralize falls off, your next hit will trigger the unstoppable buff and you will get smacked. Also, if you leave him at 15 stacks and you decide to just hit his block to give him power so that he can consume them himself by throwing a special, it's not a great idea, since if you hit the opponent's block more than once with Tigra, the double medium can cause the AI to be able to re-parry you and stun you. So the most important part is to just keep an eye on those rock stacks and learn to manage them well. And there he goes. A bit on the slower side, but still, a solo is a solo. My group ended up getting a donut this war, and their group hadn't finished yet, so I don't know if we beat them or not. But we did end up winning the war 11-7.